It's time. It's time for this thing to have a heart again. So in the last video you saw we got the short block back from the engine builder and we completely assembled the motor into what we call a long block. So basically, everything but the accessories. I've got the car completely prepped. Should be ready to drop the motor in. So we're gonna do that. Let's get right to it. Hopefully it doesn't fight us too much. Sometimes these can be a pain getting the, as I described in one of my previous videos, getting the input shaft to line up with the clutch can sometimes fight you. So we'll see how much this sucks, but let's stab this motor in and keep going, checking stuff off the list. Let's get this done and go from there. Not bad, huh? She's in. Only fought me a lot, but that's the way it goes. These things, like I said, getting that torque tube to slide into the input shaft or the pilot bearing on the motor is always a struggle. Getting the angle just perfect, but got it done. So got AC compressor all hooked. AC compressor, the belt's on. Got some wires going here. I got both manifolds back on test fit, those clear. Did rub a little bit over there, but I just adjusted, the motor with the motor mounts loose, and now it's good. I also rerouted some of these wires. Normally on a C6, the starter wires curve around back here because the C6 manifolds are right, dead nuts in the center here. These are Camaro manifolds. So basically, those two starter wires you see there, I kind of moved this harness over here, made a new mount for this little wire holder, and now it clears nicely. So, no clearance issues over here. Same thing on this side, rerouted a few wires. You can't see them. They're under there tucked up against the block, but, so that took a little while today. One of those things where you never even notice it, but just takes time. All these little things that, you think you're just going to slap, the turbo kit on and then get to finish welding, but all sorts of little stuff that can take a while to correctly relocate without hacking it together, which is the last thing I want to do on this car. So next, like I said, already got the manifold on there. We need to get these bad Larrys back on here. So we tack these up with LS7. There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't fit exactly the same on this motor, but like I said, I just didn't want to finish weld it all up and then run into a problem. So let's basically bolt the entire hot side back onto the car, X-pipe, everything, and make sure everything still fits. And we will finish weld it. And all we're waiting on now really is push rods, which should be here in the next day or two. And this thing could fire up. I got the startup tune. So you got to get cracking. One last thing I'm not sure if I really covered in this video, which arguably the most important part of this whole build is the turbos that I'm running. These are the original turbos that I had ordered. These are VS Racing 66, 67, or 67, 66s, I believe. I ran a VS Racing turbo on my last Corvette with awesome results, no complaints. These are billet aluminum wheels. This is a dual ball bearing design. You know, looks like a pretty nice unit. I don't really have any complaints with it. They were, you know, got them brand new from VS Racing and was going to run them. But, you know, while I was fabricating all this and doing all the other work, I actually found a great deal on a set of Garrett's. So this is a Garrett, see if I can get this name right, GTX 3582R. Really common turbo in the import world. Slightly smaller than these guys here, only slightly, but allegedly much more efficient. You know, even just the dual ball bearing on this thing is much smoother than the VS Racing. Still a T4 housing. These are actually water-cooled turbos, so I got some fittings there. We'll have to run some water to them. Same or similar 3-inch downpipe V-band. So I think I'm going to run these. I already got one of them mocked up on the car. Might need to make some slight changes to the downpipe. So other than that, they should fit, you know, exactly the same. Already double checking the fitment on this fender. But there's the Garrett tucked up in there. Cold side's hooked up. Fits perfectly. Like I said, there should really be no issues. The motor dimensions, even though it's a 5.3 out of a truck, you know, should have the same dimensions as the old LS7. But yeah, so I think that we're gonna give these Garrett guys a try. Even though they're smaller, I think these are rated at almost 800 horsepower each. So my math skills are correct. That's good for 1600 horsepower when you got two of them. So Garrett turbos on the Z06. So let's get those mocked up. Alright, so it's been a couple days. I'm trying to film more than one video at a time. I'm trying to remember where I left off, but something with the drain lines, turbo, you know, oil feed, water, drain lines, turbo lines, call it. So let me show you what we got done, where we're at, and what we still have left to do. So the Garrett turbos are fully on the car. A little more fab work than needed, unfortunately. I was hoping the, you know, downpipes and everything would fit perfectly, but I actually ended up having to basically remake this section on both sides. Not the end of the world. These things fit perfect now. Pretty slick. As I mentioned, these Garrett turbos also require water cooling, so I got that teed into the coolant system. Water comes in here, goes out there, goes over to the other turbo, and then kind of tees back in You can't see it up here, but it basically tees back in to the radiator right about there. So water's done, both turbos, turbo feed line, dash 4AN's back there, 12AN drain. Comes down here, tees in around the oil filter, and then comes up into the oil pump and then back into the oil pan. So I also wired this oil pump up, so that's going to come on with the key on. Just got to secure some wiring. What else? Yeah, lots of little stuff, but oil lines are done. Hot side is now completely mocked up, and I think what I'm going to do next is now blow it all apart and actually start finish welding. So, you know, set up some back purging and figure out how much argon I have left in my tank over there. See if I have to go get some more before the weekend starts. But yeah, let's take a look at the list. Knocking them off, man. Already started on the wideband. That's almost done. And basically just some finish welding. I got everything I need to start this car. So let's less talking, more working. Let's start welding up this hot side. Rattle. Woo! Well, many hours later, 2 tanks of argon, and we finally got the entire hot side all welded up. Up pipes, down pipes, X pipe, manifolds, O2 bungs, everything, all done. So, ready to bolt this onto the car, bolt the turbos on, bolt the intake manifold on, some other accessories, and fire it up, see what happens. But I'm gonna save that for the next video. Just finish up those minor things, and then we'll get to hear this thing run. So definitely tune in for the next video, and we'll get this thing started.